But with Born to Run, even though you weren't part of the band officially, Bruce credits you with helping to come up with the guitar line on the song Born to Run, and you also famously arranged the horns on 10th Avenue Freeze Out. So your fingerprints are a big part of that classic album.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I didn't come up with the guitar riff for Born to Run. That would have been something else. But
He says
I
you
think,
were partially responsible for the signature guitar line. So we'll leave it at that.
yeah, because it was just a weird moment when they had been working on it for a long time. I mean, like months on one song. So they were hearing what they thought they were hearing. They were not really hearing. And I walked in and I noticed that he was just bending one note in the riff,
Right.
and you could hear where he was bending the note from, but you didn't really hear where he was bending the note to.
Right.
So it changed a major riff into a minor riff,
Got it. Mm-hmm.
And the only reason why it got fixed because I was complimenting him, which I liked. I liked the minor.
And he was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "What do you mean? I'm not doing that."
Right. He says, what minor riff? And I think it's clear as day the minor riff. And finally they heard what I was talking about. So they had to remix it and re-record all the guitars, and it was a big deal.
You mentioned five people who are the most important figures in your life. Frank Barcelona, the legendary booking agent who basically invented modern touring, being one of them. And the timing of Frank Barcelona and you discussing getting the Young Rascals or the Rascals into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that ends up happening. He convinces you to induct the Rascals. You give a great speech, having no idea that there's a television creator watching you, which led to another part of your life, famously.
Crazy life, huh? So when you go back and look at it, it's like, whoa. I wouldn't have believed this if it didn't happen to me. Yeah, it was just again, he just flicking around with his remote. If he had been on a different channel, would never have happened.
Let's tell everybody who he is.
Oh, so sorry. David Chase, the creator of Sopranos, happened to be flicking around and happened to be a Rascals fan because he caught the Rascals montage. They do like a video thing before you come on stage at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to induct the artist. They do a little video montage, and he was like, "What's this? Why are the Rascals on TV?" And I came on. I did a little 3-4 minute kind of comedy routine, and he happened to catch it. And he was looking for different faces. He wanted to do something different on TV. He had been in TV his whole life, and he was ready to move to movies. He been wanting to do a movie for a long time. What he's doing now. But he had one more idea for TV, and he was just going to break all the rules. He didn't care anymore, and he broke all the rules and reinvented the TV in the process.
And he originally auditioned you to play the lead, Tony Soprano, right?
He actually got the part, and HBO was like, "Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? This is going to be a big expense for us." So yeah, he said, "Well, no, they're not going to let me cast you as Tony. What else do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I now that I think about it, I really feel guilty taking an actor's job. These guys work their whole lives." And he said, "Okay, well, in that case, I'll write you in a part that doesn't exist because I want you in the show." And I said, "All right, well, He said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I had this treatment. It wasn't a screenplay yet. It is now. But at the time, I said, I have a treatment about this guy, Silvio Dante, who runs a Copacabana type of club, but it's set in present day. He kind of lives in the past. And he's an independent hitman and, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "Well, that's interesting." And he comes back a couple of days later, says, "No, we can't afford the Copacabana, but we'll make it a strip club." you know, and
So
you know,
you're partially responsible for the creation of the bada bing.
yes, indirectly, yes.